Welcome back, everybody, to part 3 of episode 4 of Moth-Light. And Justin, setting the scene.
It shocks me that you're always able to get that right and not mix up those numbers. Part 3 of episode 4 of whatever. Hi. So as we had just escaped a moth attack, in the midst of that, one of our characters received a mark, which I'm sure we'll learn about soon. There were some injury from falling debris, and one of our player characters is literally been split into two different bodies and personalities. So an interesting state to be in for our next downtime. We will kind of montage this a little bit as we wait for Ember Wish's team to kind of come and bring us to their sanctum. As we're doing that, is there anything that people want to highlight? Any conversations people want to have? Esker, I am curious about Ketu and how they have changed a little bit. How has their personality been affected by your narrow escape from the rubble?
Yeah, I think Ketu is kind of withdrawn. I think this is the first time they have been leading a group on one of these dangerous expeditions, right? Before they would lead around people, they would follow in their scattered bands, and they're wondering why. I've never heard about Ember Wish ever screwing up like this and people getting hurt.
Mm-hmm.
Why is that? Why,
Right.
how do I compare, etc.
How do you live up to their prowess, essentially?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What will they think?
Yeah.
Whenever they find you and your group beaten up, basically, and barely having made it. Interesting. Seer, I think I have a moment, if I may take back possession of Nomen briefly, where silently maybe you end up talking to yourself again a little bit, but this time there's, it's not figments, it's not images, it's like there's another body there to talk to you. And Nomen, I think, says,
Go to the 11 or 1.
Oh, there was another voice for a second.
How did she do that?
Wow. Nomen prods you a bit, and I think that he says, you don't want to go back there.
Go back where?
To where it happened.
Where what happened?
Just look at yourself.
I think he gestures at dog him.
Yeah, I might go to like this, but it can't last.
No.
Look, I'm as invested in everything as you, but I kind of want to stay the way I am. I think you want that too. Don't forget it. Whoever you were, that's not who we are anymore.
Maybe not. And he looks over at the rest of the group. And make sure that they're out of earshot. and says, I don't want to be alone again.
Well, all right. It sounds like we're on the same page. And probably, I think that the dog version won't speak as much for a while. I'm kind of taking them back a little bit as an NPC, but that's not to say that you don't have the benefit of that second body. So feel free to use that to your advantage whenever you need it. In the meantime, do we have any other conversations we need to have before you're whisked away to safety?
I think Volt would have had a minor conversation about, because he doesn't understand robots. Who does? But Sequa comes back to the group with the dog, and at this point Volt has at least firmly established that Sequa can turn off robots. But I think he probably like questioned Sequa like, how did you can take control of them as well?
I'm sorry.
The robot that attacked us, you used it to escape?
That's
The-
not me.
The dog just kind of is like listening on this conversation, and just kind of like, if it could roll its eyes, it would do so.
Good thing it has no face.
Yeah.
Yeah, Volt can't read robot chirps.
Mhm.
Volt, that's not me. I never had control of it. That's Seer. And if you ask me, you might be barking up the wrong tree.
I don't think Volt can get immediately mad about the pun, but
I was trying to think of a good way to say it. That was the only way I could say what I was meaning.
Volt is confused.
Yeah, he
probably-
yells from across the room, like, "Yeah, you got it rough."
You could throw a bone in this direction, Katu. Yeah, that's Seer's other side.
I think that then this might be a good time to kind of give you your out here, which is at some point in the next day or two, you hear like a rhythmic rapping, Ketu, that you know to be a sign of like, we're here. And stepping out of the shadows is someone who's kind of bundled up. They're in travel gear for stealth, but they are very clearly someone who has some wealth on their side. This is like a member of Ember Wish's retinue, probably someone in their employ. I think this is a finder, someone who like will rummage through ruins to kind of find baubles for the Ember Wish to play with and study. And they lead you outside. It's a good time. It's good timing, they say, and they kind of like will lead you on this trek through a well-worn route to their chamber, the Ember Wish's chambers. And it soon is clear to you why the Ember Wish has this sanctuary can exist, as you're led to this circular ridge that's huge. Like you can see, like this ridge just runs forever. And above ground, there are structures that look all ruined, but as they kind of lead you down, the structures become more intact. And there's just like this dull blue light, like almost like kind of like a glow that kind of lights everything here. And their stronghold is essentially like in the middle of this very tightly these tight corridors that circle, that like intersect this underground kind of structure and make up this larger complex that is clearly like too narrow for the biggest moths to go into. And then even if some of the smaller ones were to come down here, many of these structures are like, you know, almost brutalist in their design, essentially, and would be like difficult to breach or to attack. And they know just exactly the right ways to go down to avoid any traps or alarms or what have you into the palace. You've been by here once or twice before. And as we traverse, I also want to give Seer the opportunity to feel some kind of, again, some recognition of this place. And soon enough, we are marching through the doors, these wide passages that open up before you. For the first time in a long time, we see more than just a few people. We see like there may be dozens of people in the entryway to this hall, this enormous chamber that you walk through. And almost as if it's a throne room, like but it's been made like in the middle of like the entryway to this large government kind of structure. At the top of this, in a seat, you know, beside which there are several guards with rare like auger weaponry, like maybe probably only one of them, but like one of them might even have like a pistol or something, like some kind of future gun or something at their side. There is someone in the regalia of the Ember Wish, but it is not the one you knew, Ketu. This is a friend of yours from the court. I think that I'm going to ask if it's okay if I use this character you have named but not described, Arya, the Oracle, and
sure.
and say that they are the new Ember Wish. We see flashbacks of you. This to the rest of you, this individual is as young as Ketu. Ketu, you were expecting someone older and wiser. But instead, there's someone who's barely an adult in this regalia. What do you do?
I think I'm quite surprised, but I greet them, and I guess I'll ask.
We weren't expecting you, Ketu.
Oh?
I'm glad that I saw you when I did.
Well, you always were good at seeing things.
It wasn't hard after that incident over at the tower.
You'd be surprised what a balloon full of, you know, water can do.
With you? No, I wouldn't. All of you can tell there's like a friendly like inflection to this conversation. And your friends. You usually travel alone.
Yes, well, I was asked to lead them to the great Ember Wish, which seems to have changed.
There's no like acknowledgement of your statement. Maybe there's even like an uncomfortable silence around you from everyone else watching this conversation. And she says, well, anything you could have told her, you can tell me.
Yeah, and I will explain about the message and so on, and why we're here. But I will. No, I'll wait. I'll wait till later to ask about the old Ember Wish.
Okay. What about the rest of you? Sequa, you have a mission that
I do.
might be near its completion here.
Are there any machines around?
Oh yeah. You open yourself up briefly, and there's all kinds of intriguing auger, maybe not on display, or maybe in people's possession or whatever, but you look behind the throne, and there's like a vault, and you feel some interesting auras emanating from that vault.
Can I tell if they feel sick? Or is it like essentially, like I'm using that
No.
as kind of like more of a recognition type of scenario for
Now,
Aura.
what I'm trying to impose upon you is like the Ember Wish specifically collects auger. So there's like an eclectic array of objects here that you would probably be very interested in, that you can, some of which you can sense, some of which you probably can't. But just as you might expect from the reputation of the Ember Wish, like, yeah, there's some high-tech stuff going on here. And you can sense that like a lot of the this building is alive in a sense. Like it's been, if it was dead before, in the sense of like all of the machinery inside of it had gone dim, then it has been repaired, and or new stuff has been installed. Like there's interesting auras all around you.
But I don't recognize anything that essentially is viewed as the same sickness that I previously interacted with.
No.
Interesting. I think Sequa will step forward and front it Katu.
Mm-hmm.
And hold out the scroll.
An offering for me?
Not an offering.
Hand it here. And she reaches out a hand, but her assistant beside her actually goes out and grabs it from you.
I don't think I'll actually hand it to the assistant. I think I will kind of like pull it back just a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And then step forward up to the Ember Wish, if she'll let me, and go to hand it to her directly, because that is who I was told to give this to.
You can tell you've caused a little bit of offense, right? By not respecting, their traditions here. But the Ember Wish will reach out and take it from you lately. Kind of maybe with one hand up to like say to her guards, like, don't do anything.
I think Sequa leans in ever so slightly and just whispers a name.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any recognition?
No.
I am using my trapping of an important name.
Oh, your name.
The name.
From Fallen Leaf.
Notes, important name, the true name of the Ember Wish.
There is a pained look on her face. And she says, I'm sorry, that is the name of my predecessor. But I will do what I can.
Is she saying that really out loud, or is she more so whispering in the same tone to where it's kind of like a private conversation?
Let's say it's private, more or less.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sequa just nods and says nothing more, and just goes and stands with everyone else.
I think this might be a moment where, like, what's in the scroll is revealed to everyone, to anyone who hasn't seen it, which is like a fadingly.
It's me. It's me.
Yeah. as she opens up what is essentially just like a metal container, and inside is like some kind of small little auger device that she holds out. And much like what we saw in a previous episode of like the message that's being aired at the tower, we see like a hologram kind of version of that with like the countdown and everything. But then in this version, there's some additional data, so it's like it pretty much clearly explains like this craft is coming towards us. It will arrive at such and such a time. That they're any fail safes are they're unable to be activated at this time. Like there are no contingencies that are valid. Basically telling you like doom is approaching potentially. And there's probably some more like subtle information in whatever data there might be in this message as well, but we just kind of get the oral, the version of events and visual version of events. And she closes it and she says, "That is disturbing. I assume you brought this to me to figure out some method of attack, some plan."
It was left per your discretion.
I have many options at my disposal. I will need to retreat to my chambers with my counsel to review them.
Of course. I will ask that some food and a place to rest may be provided. It has been quite a hazardous embarkment to be here, and some of us, she kind of like looks back to Volt, but mostly Katu.
Yeah.
Been rather arduous.
It is not our way to keep people to bar the passage of others. You have full access to our facilities.
Thank you.
Well, I will retreat immediately. Thank you for braving this season.
Yeah, Ketu will throw a sign, like, call me in later.
Absolutely. But there is like what should be your triumphant moment is like met with like a little bit of a a question mark here, as you're allowed to retreat. They show you to some quarters that you actually have. There's actually rooms that you might have to double up on or whatever, but there are all kinds of facilities here. They have baths, like hot baths that you can, like maybe a shower that even works, that kind of a thing. They have even some more futuristic kind of medical center where they can like scan you kind of a thing and to see what's wrong with you, even if they don't necessarily have like the medicine to go along with it. That kind of a thing. What is it all of you are going to do for downtime here? Also noting, like, if you want any questions answered, this is maybe the time to pursue those means.
Oh, I'm at least going to recover and go get my shoulder treated.
Yeah, you should probably do that. One thing I would note, just as an order of procedure, Ketu, you have a level 1 harm, just so you know. Level 1 harm, well, it might be in your interest to recover from that with a downtime action. It is automatically stable, and it will heal over the next
Oh, okay.
passage of time.
Yeah, maybe I'll.
So level 1 harms are pretty minor in that sense. Like, it will be an issue for the rest of this season if you don't take action, but only for this season.
Which is this session and maybe the next one?
Essentially, yeah. Essentially till the end of the session, probably.
Maybe I'll keep it then.
Mhm. Volt. Oh,
Sorry,
sorry. Go
go
ahead.
ahead.
No, you
Go
go ahead,
ahead.
Michelle.
Oh. I think Sequa is just gonna like put a hand on Katu's other shoulder and say, "You stink good. Let's go find those hot baths, shall we?"
Nods. Like, all right then. You know. How to put it? I think Ketu mentions like, "Oh, I want to go see." Do we have a name for the old Ember Wish?
I think it is just like, the Ember Wish or your predecessor. We don't have a name yet, and I think that's actually intentional on my part because I have some thoughts on who that might have been.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, regardless, I maybe we don't. I don't know as a player, but maybe Ketu knows, and but they won't
Mhm.
say anyway. And it's just I want to go see the old Ember Wish. Maybe not
Who do you
fully
say that
realized.
to? Yeah.
Yeah, to Sequa. And probably not realizing they might be dead.
Yeah, Sequa, what do you feel about, like, would Sequa maybe pick up on that probability?
I think Sequa just kind of smiles like a little bit of a smirk and is like, "I got some questions to ask myself. Bath first, Snoop later. Deal?"
All right.
All right. And I think with that, Sequa's gonna pull out a bar of soap.
Wow. Fancy technology.
I'm marking a supply here of provisions for soap.
You really don't have to, but
Okay.
I like it. I like your gusto there.
Yeah. Be
Mhm.
like behind your ears and everywhere in between.
I think Ketu rummages in their bag and pulls out like a bath bomb. It's like,
Who knows how old it is?
Right. I love it. And we go out on that little poof of suds, like a cartoony poof of
Yeah,
suds. in the back.
yeah, but
Yeah.
I think after the baths, Sequin, I'll bring Katu with me. I think for some answers. Is there a memorial or something to the old Amber Wish, or is there like nothing, as if she never existed besides this version?
You ask someone about her, and like maybe there's two people in this group, and they just kind of look at each other, and they're like, "She's no longer with us."
What do you mean by that?
But there is a memorial.
What do you
You
mean
can
she's
see it.
no longer with us? Is she like out? She taking a coffee break? She like dead? she like
It's-
in a coma?
It's
Like,
best not for us to say.
all right. Thank you for not helping. Where's this memorial?
It's on the days. Level 3.
Thank you.
Do you go visit it?
Mhm.
So imagine if this isn't a literal grave, right? It's not anything dug. Imagine if like the upper, the second floor of a mall was turned into like a memorial, like graveyard, essentially. So like there are little brightly lit, just like slightly elevated. There's just essentially tokens for different people here. And specifically, these are for the different Ember Wishes over the many years. And each of them actually is capped with a little kind of like device that records memories. You've interacted with some of these before. They're actually fairly common augur to find, of like almost like kind of like a bit of their personality, essentially. Or like a fond memory of their past. And you walk up to that gravestone, and it's unlike maybe some of the others or what you'd expect Ketu. It's a fairly early memory of theirs. It's not like in their prime, and it's of them maybe like just playing music in like some courtyard here in this very building or something like that.
So is it a third person thing, or is it from their perspective?
It is third person.
I think as Katu is watching this, Sika's gonna look around. And then put her hand to it. And try to do the exact same thing that this one she's done with the others.
You're going to try and get some more information out of it. Well, tell me how you're gathering information, and let's do a roll. Sounds like you're attuning.
I am attuning.
Okay.
Um,
Ask me a leading question and roll. This is a fun thing, by the way. The leading question part is a fun thing that came out of a discussion in the Blades in the Dark Discord, actually, where someone kind of suggested that as a fun way to change up how Gather Info works. So when I say leading question, I mean, you probably, when you ask me a question in the game, you should probably have some idea for what you want the answer to be. And this is your chance to kind of influence that a little bit. So like of the results. So like ask me a leading question that kind of points towards what your interest, what you hope the answer might be. And I will either confirm or deny that, essentially, based on your roll.
I think Sequa would phrase it as, "Are you still here?"
You kind of analyze, like you kind of do the thing where your control over this can kind of, in your advanced methods, you can kind of like glitch out the device. You go into debug mode, essentially, and you do find that this is a recording from someone else's perspective. And it is different from a lot of the others around here, which are like a word of advice that was done like essentially like a speech that an Ember Wish gave, or like a triumphant moment in their life from a first person perspective. And this one you find based on, you like look down at your hands, as you kind of like experience this firsthand, and you notice that they're childlike hands. You're pretty sure that, and you've seen one of the rings on that finger. This is from the current Ember Wish's perspective.
Okay. I was just gonna essentially say don't go too far because I haven't rolled yet.
Oh God, that's right. No, that's a good point though. Roll, because there is more you could find out here.
2, 2, 4.
Yeah.
I should have asked for a devil's bargain because this is really important.
No, that's a straightforward answer. So basically, what I told you is all you get.
It's an early memory, but the hands appear the same as the current Ember Wish.
You're positive that, unlike the others, this is recorded by the current Ember Wish, and it's a memory of the previous one, as opposed to being like an intentional like testament of their life or a memory from their life that they recorded, like the others.
Right. Based on just an aspect of what I know of these things, these are essentially taking a memory imprint. But it only shows one memory compared with is the entire imprint of the mind being put technically here? No.
No.
Okay.
No, it's just like a recording, essentially.
Recording. Okay.
Mhm.
I have one further question I would like to ask. I'm more than happy to make an additional roll, but this is in relation to a long-term project clock that I have. And I'm gonna ask it to the machine itself, because I'm guessing that it's hooked up to the network here.
Go ahead. There's all kinds of ways you can interact with the network here.
Okay. I'm continuing the clock on, do the machines know the blip and what are they doing about it?
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
I just rolled a 666.
That's 5 segments, so that means you complete this clock. Can I suggest that? Can we get a montage of you? Can this be over a period of time, like over your period of time alone? Like, is that cool?
Absolutely.
At one point, they bring you. They let you know that there is a library, essentially, that you can have access to, and they give you access to this library, and it's just kind of the basic stuff that you would expect anyone who is interested in, exploring the depths of the network to have, in terms of like, there's some cool, interesting stuff, but not what you're looking for. And then you find like the secret back end, because you're you. And the Embers and their people know of the machines, the corrupted machines. And according to their lore, what's been like notes gathered by them, essentially, this is how humanity was taken down on Beacon. The machines that people had built to serve them were hacked by this outside force and turned against them. And this is where a lot of the like caution about like diving too deep into the network comes from, is there are many of these older places that are corrupted in a different way. Their AI and what have you has been like hacked and turned against people. Hence all the rumors of demons and stuff like that. Pretty much every AI structure, like any kind of android or whatever, was turned to like the enemies of Beacon back in the day. And there are notes. I will give you something else that will lead us into something interesting I've been wanting to explore here in this episode, which is there are theories about like, what if we made it our own?
Our own
Like,
chance.
what if we instead of recovering this AI from the wreckage and trying to fix it like they maybe had been done in the past, what if we tried to reproduce what the predecessors did without just following in their footsteps to make our own? And maybe there's even a little diagram that looks familiar to you.
Okay.
Mhm.
I think I'll flash back to more of this, but I want to make sure that others have a chance to work on their downtime.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, complete that project. And as for like what you can get from that, essentially know that you have like detailed information about the corruption now.
Okay.
Mhm.
Seer?
First, I'm gonna relieve stress.
Yes. What is how do you do that?
So, my drive
Mhm.
is connection.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that Seer looks for Ketu first. Where does he find them?
I think at the cherry tree.
Is it blooming? Actually?
Yeah, let's say it is for cinematic purposes.
Yeah, it's a dramatic thing where there's like this high vaulted. I don't know. I've seen trees inside indoor malls before. It's kind of like that kind of a thing, where it's like this high vaulted ceiling, so light is majestically like falling on the center of this tree, and it is really pretty in this moment.
So you hear Seer's talons clicking across the floor as he walks through this huge space to get to the small patch of green in the center. And he hops up next to Ketu and sits like in companionable silence for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And then finally, how are you doing?
I think Flies. I don't know. My friend, mentor, might be gone. You know, they won't. Nobody will say what exactly happened. And I just wanted them to say good job.
I think Seer extends a wing across Ketu's shoulders. And I don't think our losses are the same. I have the benefit of not quite knowing what I've lost. I'm sorry we came this way and you can't see your friend. But you did do a good job.
And I think you see like the tension kind of release, you know, and then they ask like, well, what's going on with waves hand at. Are you two people now?
Not really. I don't know what's happening to me. He is not me, but also he is part of me. And he knows things that I don't, which is weird. I don't know. Maybe I'll be able to find some answers here.
I hope so, but I think there's some dude pronounces that it was you're a great bird friend, and I would be happy to have a great dog friend too.
I think he does laugh, and he says, "Well, the two of us couldn't be luckier than we are to have a friend like you."
Maybe there's I think Ketu, what does Ketu pull out of their bag to just top this off with a joke?
Good question.
Is it a ball? So do you play fetch now?
Do it, do it, do it.
Yeah, I think yes. There's some revelry going on. I can't envision exactly what, but yeah.
I kind of maybe like the idea of, have you seen one of these? And then we don't get to see what it is. It's just a shared moment between the two of you.
Yes.
Like behind your shoulder kind of a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Would you, to me, Danielle, as far as your stress relief, which attribute would you like to choose for what we saw there, just there? To me, that was, you definitely were kind of relating to Ketu. So maybe that's a resolve roll. That kind
I
of
think
a thing.
so.
Yeah. So go ahead and roll and relieve the highest in stress.
Jesus, if I could actually roll onto the thing. 5.
Oh,
Cool.
Great.
Excellent. Back down to 1.
That's awesome.
Cool. Perfect. Love to see it.
Volt, this place is pretty cool.
Look at all those shiny things.
Yeah. And they're just giving you the run of the place. What are you gonna do here?
I think
You're
Vol
also very stressed out. Yeah.
I think Vol has a lot of problems right now. There's this place is maybe made out of problems. I can't be certain, but I do have a question really quick. Is Seer going to? Are you planning on using a downtime action to recover? Is the word?
I think I'm gonna instead try to finish my clock.
Okay.
Why?
Because I think, assuming you're not going to be using a downtime for that purpose, I imagine there's probably a scene for Volt to like bring materials to Seer. Like he probably just gathered stuff up, especially if there's an abundance or like availability, and kind of just comes to Seer expectantly after the tunnel. Kind of like, okay, it's my job. I need to. Are there strange noises again?
Here, move your arm like this.
Yeah, do those things.
Yeah.
I think that there, like, you can see that there is a visible tear in the metal of Seer's chassis. Like, it's not necessarily just like a dent that needs to be taken out or like some gears that aren't quite fitting properly. It's like just missing material. And when you come over with all of these things to help him, I think he looks at you for a second and he says, "Have you seen any medical care yet?"
I was imagining that Volt probably got hurt, like in a leg or the thigh or something like that. And I mean, it's not stable, so I guess it's not going to get better on its own. But that's only mechanically. Because Volt would probably approach the situation like, oh, those things, they work themselves out. And he maybe like gestures to the giant rend in metal. It's like, those things, they don't go back together so well.
I think Seer kind of sighs and he's like, I mean, you're right, but...
It's over.
And he kind of gestures at it and he says, "This doesn't hurt me." And then he says, "I saw what that thing did to your leg. Are you okay?"
Oh, shit.
Uh,
Actually, don't know if this is-
I think Volt would probably just like nod, like it's not so bad. The hot baths certainly help, and maybe not carrying around so much heavy stuff. I mean, we've accomplished the mission, right?
Maybe. We definitely delivered the message we were sent to deliver. Does that mean our mission is over?
I'm trying to pull actually.
I think you can probably tell that Volt is not so sure, and maybe he doesn't have a way to exactly express that. I don't think he entirely knows what's wrong at the moment, especially because he probably doesn't have I mean, there's probably moments that he has with like Ketu or Sequa, but maybe less of that, especially since I still maybe don't trust Sequa as well. Hey, you know, the doubt's not gone yet. I got to resolve that. So, yeah, I think he's a little bit confused about it, but I mean, he's been oblivious to everything else, right? He doesn't know the difference between two Ember Wishes, right? Until Ketu says, that's not the same one. But he feels like something's wrong. And I think he'll kind of nod to you. He's like, well, our job, the message is delivered, yes. But, you know, I guess you're still here to protect us, and by the same virtue, I'm here to make sure that you can do that.
I think Seer steps a little closer and is looking up at Volt, because he's small. And I don't know what I am without this mission. But I know you are more than just taking care of me.
What is that mission?
Yeah. I think Volt would probably like ponder on it a little bit. And I don't know how well Volt really connects the lines between Seer and not just being a construct. I don't think Volt necessarily, like, not to be like derogatory towards Seer, but doesn't necessarily like think of them as a person. So I think it's probably confusing for Volt, because it's like very different kind of like questions. You know what I mean? Like it seems strange to program something so in depth or to be acting in this manner. You know what I mean? And Bolt will kind of nod after a while, and he's like, well, there's the research, of course, and he'll maybe like flash that, like the new pad he kind of acquired, and he's like, I mean, I have plenty to learn from your construction. So, yeah, I suppose you're right, but this is very informative for me.
I think at that point, Seer will relent and let Volt narratively, like, work to fix him up.
Sure.
But I don't think we have all of the right parts to actually make necessarily any progress on that front.
Sure.
During this interaction, is Noman anywhere nearby or like watching this interaction? What it is like? It just standing there next to Bold is you're
I
fixing
can't-
that shell.
I can't understand the dog.
Mhm.
But the mechanical owl, we understand that one.
Well, the mechanical owl has like a voice actuator.
Yeah.
Never had a pet Volt?
I'm sorry?
Have you ever had a pet Volt? Like if its hackles are up and it's like buried in its teeth, well, don't get bit. If it's rolling over on its stomach at you, well, it wants attention.
Walt kind of shakes his head. He's like, we don't usually have that much space. I mean, they keep livestock occasionally down in the Warrens, but
Oh, if only you could hear what Noman is saying about you right now. Or I don't think Sequo would probably use that voice. I think it would just be like, if only you could hear the profanities coming out of Seer's mouth right now.
Seer, I wonder actually if this interaction, Volt is talking, really wants to help,
Mm-hmm.
and you're telling him like you maybe don't need the normal help that you ask for at this moment, or aren't requesting it. But might you ask them to help you recover your memory somehow, or do you have other thoughts on how to do that?
No, I was thinking about that.
Mhm.
I want Volt to be able to do whatever mechanical thing he maybe wanted to do first, since I just did a
Right.
thing. But yes, I was absolutely thinking about that.
Mhm.
And Seer going to Volt for help on that.
yeah. I think, man,
It's not exactly indulging your drive, right? So it's not. We can't do that one probably for this scene.
right.
Mhm.
I was thinking about
But
the
maybe we can
released
combine
out.
them. But maybe we can combine them. Oh, yeah, released out.
Um,
I can see that.
Because even if Volt doesn't necessarily say it, clearly Sequoia did deliver the message. But it's interesting because our our beliefs. Well, my belief specifically was that I cannot trust Sequel to deliver the message. The beliefs are pretty much tied to the Pact, right?
Yes.
So it's interesting to...
Don't get ahead of yourself, is what I'll say.
Yeah, like, it seems interesting to, like, change the belief. You know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
because I don't know where it is, right? Like, what to change the belief to. Like, mission complete.
Gotcha.
But yeah.
I think that's fair. But we can always, if you want to still release Doubt, we can always, like, defer that till after the end of the episode, if you want.
Sure.
Since there's an opportunity there as well to potentially touch upon that stuff.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, I think that sounds reasonable.
Okay, cross out that doubt. And basically note that you might want to change your beliefs soon. Well, in that case, Seer, how do you ask for this help, and what is it you want to do? Or maybe do you leave it up to Volt to help you?
I think that when they're finishing up whatever this tune-up looks like, I think Seer will ask if Volt will help him find something. Like, there's some questions that have been bothering me, and I was hoping I could get your help looking for some answers in the library.
Volt just kind of nods. You can interface with the computers there, can't you?
I think Seer shrugs. I guess so. I haven't tried it before. Well, that's not true, because he helped interface when we were looking at that one tower that one time. But yeah, he kind of shrugs, says, these computers gotta be like all the others, right? At least fundamentally speaking.
Volt just kind of nods. Like, yeah. Although it does help to have fingers sometimes.
Exactly. And so I think what this looks like in general is Seer pointing Volt in the direction of, like, information about constructs and the way that they are programmed, and kind of going through not just like, well, actually I think Volt is going through the more like schematic type things. Seer is going through like memoirs.
I see.
And I don't know if he necessarily like says that explicitly to Volt what he's looking at. Volt might be able to figure that out if he's paying any attention to it, but he's probably not.
Yeah. Definitely.
But I think that's kind of what it looks like, is kind of attacking it from two angles almost.
And to foreshadow and paint a scene here for you, while you're doing this, unlike I think most of the other characters, we get a hint that like some of the Ember Wish's people are like tailing you. Whenever you go into the library, we see one or two of them come in after you, and there's like eyes on you and Volt. But that's not going to stop you from doing what you're doing. So, what action do you think it is you're rolling? And it sounds like you're going to get a +1 from Volt helping you here.
Can I make a case for hunt?
Yes.
Okay.
You can.
I would like to at least roll one die.
Well, you actually get to roll 2 because of Volt's help.
Right, because Volt is helping.
Correct.
Okay.
So you get to roll those 2 dice, and maybe Volt will help you with there. You know, you don't have to be the only one to work on this project. FYI, just but you'll get something no matter what because this is a downtime action. So go ahead and roll those dice, and I'll tell you what you find.
Oh, no, wait. I gotta use the one that's been rolling well for me. It's just one dice that's been doing it this whole time. I did get a 6.
Mark 3 segments, so you're 1 segment away from completing this project. We're going to work together on this, but this is going to be a good thing to go out on. First of all, Volt, you said you're looking through records, right? Basically, yeah. You basically point Seer in the right direction. So you're working on this, and you notice language about like some theory, and you quickly see that the author is the previous Ember Wish about like how they might reproduce an android, and the ideas that they have are basically like, if we can do this, make up our own programming language, essentially, like it should be immune from whatever corruption, corrupted the previous machines. And that might mean that they can study those machines in safety, without worrying about it being corrupted, without worrying about future machines being corrupted by this. And that leads you to some memoirs of the previous Ember Wish, which I think maybe Danielle Seer is working through. When you get there's some writing in this. This is the author is a name you don't recognize, but there's some writing in this that you're just like, huh, that seems oddly familiar. Maybe some notes in this one. And these are research notes for a project that the previous Ember Wish is doing into this project. And of course, you're getting some familiar feelings in terms of like the nature of this project, making an android, that kind of a thing. That's obvious. But you flash back in this moment to a research station, like a room, and you can see in this flashback quickly, you see your current body just like in an enclosed chamber away, and you look, and we get an image of the previous Ember Wish. Ketu, what did the previous Ember Wish look like?
You know what? Just for fun. Let's hear. Short, red hair.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of stern looking glasses.
Yeah. A smart look about them, I guess. It's kind of what I'm. Kind of like a smart kind of a look. Maybe.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I'm basically thinking of I can't remember her name from Horizon Zero Dawn.
Okay.
The scientist. Yeah.
Yeah. So she's going over some readings. And again, this is one of those things where it's almost like told in the same kind of format as the memory that we saw previously, where you kind of look down and can see that you have flesh hands, you have human hands. Maybe you're holding some kind of writing device, writing this memoir. And the Ember Wish is talking to someone, just like to the air. And then we kind of start to hear what she's saying whenever she says the word Nomen. And Nomen appears as a hologram out of thin air. And the Ember Wish is talking about her plans to like combine him with this body that they've recovered, etc., etc., etc. And then they refer to you, Danielle, the other part of you. As we kind of zoom into third person, more like camera mode, what do you look like? This is the clearest shot we get of your previous self. The research assistant to the Ember Wish.
Short, gangly,
Uh-huh.
like all limbs, and very kind of stony expression, like he has resting bitch face, and bright blue eyes, blonde hair that's extremely disheveled, and he's not wearing like a lab coat. He's wearing like some kind of fancier robe, I guess, kind of looking thing. But yeah.
Everything is going okay. All things look good. You're ready to complete this project finally. When I think suddenly someone bursts in, and several of the Ember Wish's own like guards people come in, and we kind of focus in on one of them, the kind of head of her guard, who immediately starts you get a feeling of like, oh no, not this again, who is immediately, they had disagreements in the past about this project, and you're expecting that, but things immediately get very aggressive, and he goes over and he just like rips something off of the wall. There's like sparks happening, and you get up out of your seat to protest when they grab the Ember Wish, and you just kind of duck down so they can't see you. This is obviously like a coup kind of a situation that's happening here, and you're not sure what to do for a moment, and then suddenly Noman is like, as a hologram, like kneeling in front of you, like under the desk. It's like, come with me, and he leads you over to the chamber where the body is stored, and there's like a kind of you can hide in there basically. There's just enough room, and as things are happening with the Ember Wish, this person goes over to the control panel and just starts like ripping things off of it, maybe pressing buttons they shouldn't, and things start to wind up, and Noman is like, oh no. And you quickly realize you're in like the integration chamber, basically. Like only Noman should have been in here whenever this thing was activated. And you get up to like protest to like let you out, but you see through the glass. They see through the glass and they look like they're staring at you, like what's happening. And you're locked in, and they just this individual just like looks at you with steely eyes and presses a button, and like electricity just like fills the chamber and knocks you, like you're dead, like you're killed in this moment, until you wake up again, and the room is like full of smoke, and the Ember Wish is gone, and you don't remember what happened exactly. But you wander out, and not knowing what's happening here, you wander out of the facility. It's oddly empty. Maybe you hear people up in the days like talking about what happened. I think that the explanation is that there was an accident in the lab, and that the Ember Wish was killed, or something like that. You maybe overhear a little bit of that, but that's kind of all we get before you're just like wandering through wilderness and fall and maybe are found, maybe even by that same scavenger we saw earlier who came and retrieved you. But you're not taken back. You're taken elsewhere. Maybe they know more than they let on earlier, but that's what I'll give you for now because you didn't complete this clock. So you have these impressions that paint a picture of maybe who you were before, but not completely like your purpose or like give you access to everything about your life. And I'm curious how you react before we kind of go out for this episode and continue down with downtime next time.
I think Seer kind of comes back to himself from this reverie. Maybe Volt was trying to get his attention. And he looks up at Volt and blinks a few times. And says, I need to find Ketu.
And we quickly turn to the perspective of one of the people watching you, who like has seen you just thumbing through this book and leaves. And they essentially radio, because I think that they would just have access to that kind of stuff, down to the same figure we saw in this flashback and say like, it is them, basically. And then we'll cut to the credits for this episode, to be continued. So let's go over our XP questions for today. Danielle, did you express your background, drive, or belief?
I think so.
Yeah, I think so too.
I think I did both of those things. I think I did my drive and also my background.
Agreed. Did you struggle with issues from your harm, doubt, or mark?
I think I struggled a little bit with my doubt.
I'd agree.
In terms of my interactions with Sequa.
Yeah, there was tense conversation there. So definitely get an XP for that. Do you remain true to the?
You called me princess.
Do you remain true to the pact?
Yes.
Okay. And if you have any doubts, record them now.
I don't think I have any new doubts.
Nichelle, for Sequa, did you express your background, drive, or beliefs?
I think so. Interacting with Seer, a little bit with Volt.
Did you struggle with issues from your harm, doubt, or mark?
I think a little bit with the strained.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Mark an XP for that. Do you remain true to the pact?
Yes.
Okay. Travis, for Volt, did you suffer issues from your background? Sorry, did you express your background, drive, or belief?
Yes, my background harms me. I think so. Yeah. Background and beliefs. I think we definitely see things of Volt, even if they're not sometimes more meta. But
I don't know. I mean, we had that fun ribbing you in the beginning of the episode. It was all about your background, not knowing what rain was.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Like, or where it came from. I'll definitely give you XP for that. Did you struggle with issues from your harm, doubt, or mark?
I don't think there was any significant struggle.
Okay. Do you remain true to the pact? Now that you have a little more info, maybe you can answer this question and think about your belief.
I definitely think Volt is true to the pact. I think he didn't really stray. I think the new belief is probably going to come about as soon as more of this information is shared between us.
Right.
But yeah, I think remaining true to the pack is for sure. I don't think he has a new doubt, because I don't think he understands it well enough. Like, I don't think he understands the problems with the Ember Wish well enough.
Right. That's fair. Ketu, did you express your background, drives, or beliefs?
Yeah, I think I did.
I agree.
There's a lot of stuff with Ember and Arya and the hunting backgrounds.
I'd agree.
And, yeah, I tried to do the cheer everyone up. Got some good moments with that.
You did, actually. Did you struggle with issues from your harm data mark? Even though you only just got it this session, I think you immediately struggled with issues from your doubt that we saw, from what we saw.
Yeah, the mark was big, and I still have... Well, the mark is amplifying that one doubt that's on there right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
which is fine. Like, you can definitely double dip in that regard.
Yeah.
If you want. Excellent. And do you remain true to the pact?
Yeah.
Okay. The most on mission episode maybe we've had. Excellent. So, before we go out tonight, we did do kind of a reveal cutscene there, and I want to make it clear, like, we haven't revealed everything. I want some of that to be collaborative too. So, Danielle specifically, like, if you have any thoughts about what it meant to be who you were and what happened to the Ember Wish or whatever, feel free to talk to me about that, and we can collaborate on whether, like, is she still out there, that kind of stuff. Might people recognize you? Do people know? It just seems like maybe people don't know that you're in this machine, but that, like, the machine is important somehow, etc. What we should talk about that. But otherwise, I'm looking forward to the next session. I'm wondering, as a group, I think this is good to talk about some of this stuff on air too. How do we feel about, like, endings for our campaigns? Do we like to have big blowout finales, or are we the kind of people who are comfortable with, like, to be continued, like, satisfying cliffhanger style finales for campaigns? Because that will determine what our next episodes maybe are.
I feel like Ketu wants closure around for the old Ember Wish. Yeah.
I think I am expecting an amount of closure as to our current situation and what has led to this point, and not necessarily closure with respect to what's going to happen next.
Right. Michelle?
I think essentially part of Sequa's message and goals are essentially done with delivering the message.
Yes.
However, I think I definitely playing into the doubts that it wasn't meant for this Ember Wish. It was meant for the previous one because of something else, and especially with the work in the out of character reveal that just happened that Sequa doesn't know about, that very well ties into the AIs and also the machines. So I think that really plays into what Sequa is trying to figure out. can this actually heal the machines?
Yeah, I'm actually
Yeah.
very curious about your characters. Like, if you do find out more, how your character is going to behave and interact with your group now that the mission ahead of you is not the one assigned to you, right? Like, you completed that part technically, and your job is done, but the spirit of it isn't complete, right? So like, how does Sequa handle that, knowing that like you are only now part of this like pact and not its leader essentially anymore, officially?
I think it's going to really play into doubts. There may be a crisis. I'm not sure.
We'll see.
Or honestly, not even playing into the pact anymore. It may become a different avenue that the pact isn't fulfilling. So I'm wanting to see where that goes. Honestly.
And Volt, I'm sure you have a lot of reasons to go along with whatever happens, because you're gonna get some. You're gonna dig into that juicy, pre-fall technology, pre-info, the info of that maybe the Ember Wish might still have for you, etc. But what is it you like to see in a finale as Travis, the player? What kind of finales really fill you with excitement?
I feel like cliffhanger is fine. I don't see things ending in an overly big way. Like, I mean, I guess if we find the Ember Wish, I feel like if we find the Ember Wish, even though that is a very large part of this, like metagame wise, like if we find the old Ember Wish, like that's huge as an event. But I feel like that can only end in like to be continued. You know what I mean? Like that just like opens so many more questions than it answers. So I just feel like a lot of the ways this is going is definitely much more to be continued, which is totally fine. I don't have any problems with that.
Okay, I'll think on that, and see. That's just gonna help me hone in on what I plan for the next couple sessions and what I'm gonna build towards with next session. But I appreciate that information. So that's been our 4th episode of Moth-Light. Travis, do you want to take us out?
Yeah, where am I at?
I guess that's my job.
Yeah.
The card has.
Wait a second, my name's not Justin.
All right, and that's a wrap. Thank you for joining us, everyone. We hope you had a fun time, and all of these episodes will be up on YouTube as soon as we are able to get them up there. Be sure to keep an eye on our next stream at twitch.tv/hackedinthedark. I'm your GM and the designer of this game. You can find me at Mothlands. You can find all of my games at moth-lands.itch.io. Go check them out. I'm going to have some new releases up soon, hopefully. I'm actually working on the final details with some of the team for External Containment Bureau, a Hacked in the Dark game inspired by Control and the SCP and that kind of stuff. Look for that soon. Nichelle, where can we find you?
Real quick on that plug, that is actually, I believe, going to be the next stream.
What?
Yes, it's going to be the next stream series here on the channel. So
I didn't even know that.
Come check it out. We're going to have Eric here with multiple other people. I don't know who all is going to be on it, but definitely do look forward to that. Hi, I'm Nichelle. You can find me on Twitter at MistletoeTrex. Me at Istio at mistletoekiss.itch.io or my website Voidal Space. I am a indigenous content creator and GM, and I'm also one of the mods at the Blades in the Dark Discord server, where this game and many others like it are developed, worked on. I wouldn't say critique. It's a supported is probably a better term. Because fostered, yes. we're a wonderful, loving group. It's an amazing community. We'd love to see you in it. And yeah, that's all from me.
All right. I'm Esker, or Mike. You can find my blog at esker.dev, games at esker.itch.io. I have stuff. I have a character keeper for blades, weather system for blades. I just released a bunch of I call it gas lamp oracles that you can use with any Victorian setting with magic. If for use with solo play and or GMs who need ideas.
And I'm Travis. You can find me on Twitter as well as itch.io and DM's Guild, all under Octosplosion. And just generally doing nerd stuff and supporting other people who make cool content. Sharing it as much as I can and trying to find awesome stuff.
And I've been Danielle. You can find me on the internet at RedtailTalk90. You can find my games, including my own Forged in the Dark game, Idiot Teenagers with a Death Wish, which is an Animorphs-inspired game, at redtailtalk90.itch.io. You can check out the actual play of that game, Dumb Kids Playing Hero. You can find that on Twitter at DKPHpod. You can find my home podcast, The Room Where It Happened, at RoomWherePod on Twitter. And if you want to check out the myriad other projects that I am involved with with my podcasting guild, you can check out us on Twitter at stones_standing.
Awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us, and I hope you have a lovely evening. You can follow us on Hacked in the Dark here on the YouTube. You can follow the podcast. There's all kinds of places you can go to support us or join us. Please do. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Bye.
See you.